Welcome to Backstage with the Baronsmen, a deep dive into the inner workings of a historical theater company in Austin, Texas. 2020 has been a year of adapting. Businesses had to figure out how to stay open. Individuals had to figure out how to work from home, teach their children at home, and how to stay safe and productive without losing their minds. Theater companies had to figure out how to keep their company members active and their patrons engaged. 2020 forced a lot of folks to think outside of their comfy little boxes and to try new things. TBM particularly rose to the challenge to produce 2 live virtual read-throughs, the Shack Snack series, and our very first anthology movie. With us today to chat about the joys and challenges of these new and exciting formats are Laura Trezise and Renee Osborn. Welcome, y'all.
Hey.
So 2020, it's been a treat, hasn't it?
It was kind of crazy. Yeah, I think that what was really wild is that, so we were about ready to start Merry Wives of Windsor, or like actually get ready to move into the theater, which we usually do like what, a week and a half before opening?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, and so for those of you that don't know, it's basically we don't rehearse at the Curtain Theater. We rehearse all over Austin, and then we finally move in, and that's where we get that theater ready. We do a big, like a thorough cleaning of the theater, backstage, everywhere. And then we are able to start rehearsing, which is a big adaptation in itself because you are figuring out how to work in that space. So we're all set to go. And then COVID hit. And the first thing we kind of did, I mean, in our minds too, was the utmost safety for not only our patrons, y'all, but also our actors and crew. So, you know, there was a lot of kind of going around. We didn't know if this was like everyone else, is this just going to be a month? so we kind of ended up, we made a decision to, I think the first time was potentially postpone it. And then it kind of kept getting pushed out and out, and then finally canceled is what happened. But I think one of the big things we did, we knew that a lot of the actors, I mean, if anyone's ever done a show or prepared for something, it's a lot, you invest a lot in it. And so to not be able to, well, as a director, producer, all the behind the scenes stuff, but also as an actor, you don't get to share anything you've worked on. So we finally kind of asked the crew, the cast, would anyone be interested in trying this on Zoom in the crazy land of Zoom? And that's kind of how our first kind of foray into virtual shows happened.
Yeah, and it was received extremely well. I mean, I believe that the last time I looked, it had over 1,100 views. So people liked it.
Well, and also a big thing for us to adapt is, you know, part of our draw, I mean, not only our acting, all that sort of stuff, but it's our costumes. It's also, if anyone's ever seen one of our shows out at the Curtain, it's an entire experience. You know, you're down on Lake Austin, you're out of the city, you're at this replica of the Globe Theater. So it's quite an experience. So we were like, how is this going to play in a tiny box? And also we didn't have the ability, especially at that time, because we were in lockdown pretty much, to say, can we go get costumes? People put on some costumes, that sort of thing. So a lot of the actors kind of improvised if they had stuff, like it was a little more modern. I think we all wore black, if I remember correctly. And then we had like hats, different things that we kind of,
I made a mustache.
Yeah, I did a mustache. And also we had, you know, another thing to note too, is we had some of the original cast just, you know, everybody was dealing with COVID at different levels. And so some people were like, yes, I really want to do this show. I want to, you know, showcase what I've worked on any way I can. But some other people were not comfortable with that. And they're just like, you know, it's not the same without being on stage. You know, nothing against anyone, but I just don't want to. And so, you know, we had quite a few actors that just kind of stepped in to fill some roles. So, but I think all in all, everybody really enjoyed it. And that was kind of our first kind of putting the little pinky toe in the water, or testing the waters to see what is this. So,
yeah.
I think it was well received.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, definitely.
You know, that gave us the impetus to go on and to try something more.
Yeah, and I think too, we're like, you know, also being involved in seeing what the rest of the Austin theater community was doing. You know, there was a few of us that were just like, let's just do it, and jumping in. And now, as we all know, how many months are we now into COVID?
8 or 9.
Too many.
Like Zoom performances and adapting is all nothing new now, but that beginning in March, well, when did we do that? We
Was
did
our
it.
first step.
Yeah,
It was in April or May.
It was
yeah.
beginning of April.
So that was really very new territory. So, and getting creative.
Yeah.
So I think, and then the next thing we did, and this is where I want to talk to you, both Renee and Laura, about this, is then we did, we kind of started off our COVID season, I guess, with
like
kind of the greatest hits. Well, sort of like a repeats. We had, Mary Wise, which we had done before, and then went ahead and did it. And then we brought Liz Estrada back because we were like, we have challenges in rehearsing, all that sort of thing. And everybody was adapting with their children at home, work, all that sort of stuff. So we decided, I think kind of maybe Lee and I came up with it. And I mean, all of us were like, what can we do? And then it was like, let's do Liz Estrada. That was one of our lesser known plays. And it was something that we knew was short as well, because that's the other thing. We found that if you have a 2-hour show on Zoom, it does get, it's not easy. So it's
pretty long.
challenging to stay engaged. So I think Liz Estrada was probably 75 to 90 minutes. Was it 75?
It was 75 minutes.
Yeah. So, and y'all were in that. And so that, and Lindsay directed it, who directed it the first time. What were your guys' experience with that? I mean, that was kind of like the first kind of like, let's see what we can do in this little box here. And we did wear costumes for that, which was fun. What were your guys' thoughts on how to adjust from, because it's like film, but it's not film.
Right, because you're not even, for most of it, you're not even in the same space with the other actors. So it's difficult to I guess, read the feeling in the room, when you're not in the same room to do it. But it was interesting just seeing what we could do with props and I guess just sight gags that we could do in a box screen. And then yeah, I mean,
it's learning how to deal with this little tiny box around yourself and backdrops. Okay,
yes,
had backdrops, and that was a thing that not everybody's backdrop worked the same way.
Right.
So that was a thing we had to overcome, but we did it, and but it
another thing was the chorus, with the chorus having to try and all speak at the same time. We're realizing that was quite a challenge because of all of the Zoom feeds and, depending on when it would pop in, we weren't always on the same tune. So we had to adapt the script so that there would be less of that.
But it worked really, really well. So, and I think the other thing that at that time too, because that was July, I think that's when Strata went up. Is that I think then too, kind of talking about COVID and everything and everybody was in different, at that time, some people were maybe going back to work, with safety precautions, some people still weren't. So also on a social side it was so gratifying to just, after we finished Liz Estrada, we all hung out on Zoom for 2 hours, 3 hours, and that, it's not the same as being in person with someone, but that's the other thing as well. I think as artists, like you need that outlet. So, and I think, and also as human beings. And so I think that was great to just, do that. And also even have other troupe members who weren't in the show even join us for kind of an after show time. So,
yeah,
it was a very, we also wanted to do something to see, fundraising has always been something that the Baronsman has wanted to do on a more regular basis. But when you're in normal show seasons and stuff like that, everybody's running around working on towards the show and everything, and can't really focus on doing the fundraising. So we had an opportunity for 2020 to be able to start, let's try some of these things out. Let's see what actually works for us. And so we set a fairly reasonable goal for Liz Estrada, and we went above and beyond it. So it was a success. And so Jackie and I were like, after that, going, what else can we do?
So since that worked,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so Liz Estrada, I think worked really well, and especially to that time, like that 70 minutes, like I think is just that between the 70 and 90 is the perfect, like the what do you want to call it? The sweet spot. You don't want to go too much over, you don't want it too short either in a way. So, but we also did, I'm going to sidestep a little bit. We also did, people are probably like, what's Shack Snacks? So it's Shakespeare, but what we wanted to do was also offer for some people that, were maybe like, I can't commit to a full kind of rehearsals and Zoom and that stuff, but I still want to act. And so we were like, well, let's, how about some monologues? And so that's kind of what we did. We did the first round was, we wanted people to kind of switch up roles. So like, let's say I've always wanted to play Hamlet, but maybe wouldn't be cast as Hamlet. This was a great opportunity for people to, play some different roles and switch it up. So who knows, maybe someday we'll have an all male Liz Estrada or an all female Hamlet. Who knows?
Down.
Well, I think too, though, like the Shack Snacks is a great way. It's a great way for actors out there to kind of present themselves in a non-traditional way, in a way that people don't necessarily think about. It's not an audition. It's not it's not a I'm presenting here. It's just this is I feel connected to this piece of this body of work, and I really want to do something because it resonates with me as an actor. And I think that's a great forum for actors to be able to go into that and just portray themselves in that vein, so that at the end of the day they can express themselves through that particular thing, because you may never get cast. Like I would never be cast as Juliet. I would never be cast as Juliet ever, or Hamlet for that matter. And it's a great opportunity to be able to explore those characters and all the things that those characters bring into your acting ability. And I think that we need more people to interpret and to explore those opportunities, because it really is a great opportunity to step outside of your norm, to step outside of yourself, and to do something that is unexpected.
Right.
That's a great thing.
You can also too, there's not a lot of pressure, because one thing that is great about film and stuff is that for a couple of mine, I think I did 10 takes because I was like, oh, I forgot a line. Oh, I forgot this. Yeah. So it's kind of, you get to like do your own thing and really, make it your own and feel good about it. So, versus, we all have had times on stage where we're like, oh, there went that line. Keep going.
I can't redo that. So there it is. Oh, and we're filming tonight. Okay, great. Okay.
Of course we're filming tonight. Yeah.
Okay.
So this
is a golden opportunity to do something outside the box.
So any other Barron's Men troupe members that are watching or listening, we should do a Shack Snack. I think next we're going to try to start doing scenes, which will be fun, like little
Shack Snacks supersize.
Yes, it'll be like pairs and stuff like that. So this is going to be kind of like a series that evolves. So, and I think what I would love to do is, and I think I've talked to all three of you about it, is I would love to do like a Julius Caesar but with all women, like a scene from that. One of the pivotal scenes, and have it be all women, and just to see a different take on it. So
I can stab Caesar like nobody's business.
Yes. So, so we had kind of that. Yeah. And then I think we kind of, the ultimate thing that we did was Tales of Darkness. Like it evolved where we were like, let's do something completely different and, go way outside.
And we did. We did.
Awesome. Here's our box.
Yes.
And we were way over here. We were way over here.
Yeah. Let's learn how to audit or how to edit videos. Why not?
But
all of the above.
Great. If it was COVID and we're like, you know what? Who cares? Throw the rule book out of in a sense, still keeping true to some of it, but like have fun with it. And I think that the people who acted in it loved that. And I think our audience, I think y'all patrons liked it too. So that's definitely something I think we're going to try to do once a year, is do something similar to that. Lee, do you want to talk a little bit more about that? And then let's talk back to Renee and Laura about their experiences in Tales of Darkness.
So Tales of Darkness, if anybody, for the patrons that have been with us for years and years, several times, at least on 2 separate occasions, we've done something called Medieval Macabre, which is an anthology show and everything like that. Some of the bits, some of the scarier bits from Shakespeare and his contemporaries, all the way back to like, I mean, we in one of them, we actually did Odysseus and
Beowulf
and stuff like that. So we wanted to do it again, but not necessarily the same thing. And so Jackie and I started talking about it and everything, and then we roped Laura into it because she's our resident scripty person. And between the 3 of us, we really kind of picked the scenes that we wanted to do, and then Laura and Jackie like wrote some really great intro things. We wanted a feel for, like, we had 3 different hosts for Jimmy, Lindsay, and Casey Jones to revisit one of their favorite roles that they'd ever done. And we also wanted the feel of like Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, and the Crypt Keeper, and then also Billy Zane's character
Demon
from
Knight.
Tales from the Dark Side, I think it was, whatever it is, or Tales from the Crypt. Demon Knight. So and they did that. It was really, really great. But then we were like, I don't know, maybe we were drinking, I have no idea, but somehow instead of performing this live, we were like, let's like record it and just like smush it together into like a little movie. And then who's gonna do that? Apparently me.
Well, a playlist is what it kind of was based on. I'd watched Vortex Theater along with not Penfold, but Bottle Alley Theater had done a show, and I watched it because one of our Danny Boudrat was in it, so I wanted to see what they did. But they did like a playlist, you know, and talked to Lee about that. I was like, why don't we just film this and do it as a playlist? But then she took it the step above and said, no, let's edit it.
Well, in that way too, like people that might not have been able to make rehearsals or the actual performance day could in their time, their spare time, record something and turn it in.
Yeah,
which was super helpful for everybody. I think everybody involved. I mean, to be able to go away, record whatever it is you're going to do, and then submit it, and then have you guys edit it together. I mean, honestly, that's the best scenario, you know, for everybody involved, especially in this time when everybody's schedules are just kind of crazy, and if at all. So
yeah, and then I
had
to learn a new program that I'd never used before. Never knew. I had no lessons on editing theology and ideology and stuff like that, or music or anything like that. And I have a friend who does it professionally for the Austin PBS station. And he sat down with me for like 2.5 hours one day on a Saturday and started showing me, and I just kind of went from there. And I can't tell you the number of hours that Jackie and I sat here in my office at home and like we were looking at things and making sure that we were cutting where we needed to cut. And then we roped in a couple of people to do music, including my husband, who wrote a majority of the interstitial music and some of the background music for some of the scenes. Which everybody was wonderful and everything. But I really think the music kind of took it to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely.
Between Josh and Michael, I mean, the music was really, really great, and it absolutely fit into everything that you guys put together. And you guys really did really did a good job of editing this together. You know, I think that was a great first step into realm.
I'm pretty proud of it.
Video.
For not
Yeah,
knowing
I'm
what
like,
the heck I was
"Woo."
doing beforehand, and then producing,
Should be.
birthing this baby and everything fully formed and whatnot. I kind of felt, oh, this is going to sound dorky, okay, but I felt a little like Zeus birthing Athena
Out of your head.
out of my head and everything. But it was really nice, and it was now Jackie and I are already sitting there going, okay, what are we going to do the next time? What are we going to do next time? And we'll talk about doing Shack Snacks. And we'll talk about doing the next round of Shack Snacks. I was like, do you want music? I can put music to it. Can we do music? I can edit it together. It'd be great. And she's like, calm down.
I don't know.
Yes, but wait. But no, I mean, I think the biggest thing for me was the first one, and this is because we had heard bits of Michael's music, and then I think we'd gotten Victoria's monologue first, Hecate,
Yes.
Hecate, whatever, and you just said, hey Josh, can you write something to go with that? And he did this drum stuff. Holy cannoli!
And this is Josh Kavanaugh, right?
Yeah, Josh Kavanaugh. I think we sent him her monologue, and then he came back.
Of the kind of drums that we were looking for, and came back, and it was
insane. Like, it was like she would point and it was like dunk, and like it was just insane. And so then I remember like sitting down at your house, Lee, and then we had all Michael's tracks, and then we also we did, what was it, Epidemic Sound.
Epidemic Sound.
Yep. And they had a lot of Halloween spooky sort of sound effects, and that's what we did. And it for me, like I've done film, I've acted in film, but I've never done the editing side.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just insane because you used what, Premiere Pro is what we used?
Adobe Premiere Pro.
And like it was just wild, like when you would and we'd be like, oh, it's too much, a little too much, and then Lee would like play it again. I was like, yeah, that's cool. And it was just so much. I think we spent 5 hours that night, honestly. Like I think I left your house at like 2 a.m, but it was just so much fun playing around in that new medium. And I mean, I'm really excited for next year. I mean, who knows what's going to happen, but we already know
editing is kind of the dark side. I mean, if you switch over from acting to editing, then you've just switched sides. You're in the dark side. Oh God, now.
No. Mama still needs her acting outlet.
It's true.
Yes. We need our acting.
My proudest moment with Tales of Darkness, and this is going to sound really, really dumb. During the witches, the Macbeth witches scene, we had a special effect where somebody, Annalise, actually had a light that did lightning strikes, like a flash of lightning. And I don't know if I could ever do it again, but I lined that puppy up that as soon as it hit the first time, that crack went off and everything. It was like it was really happening, and I'm like, I am a goddess.
I know, we were
It was a great effect.
Done.
Of everything I did in that entire thing, that is my proudest moment, because I was like,
it's the little things that make it all worthwhile at the end.
Well, and I think too, for that one especially, because for some people we did some Zoom, recorded Zoom recordings, and then we did some that people actually, depending on who they were with or if they could film together, like we had a couple people that were dating or husband and wife or whatever, so they were fine safety wise to film together. So we had them film like on their phone or whatever and then send it in to us. But the Zoom ones we did, I mean, we got creative with Zoom. Like for the fight scene in Titus Andronicus, the witches, and then Lady Macbeth, like the whole, that's one thing I was like, man, look at what we're doing. Like, I
a whole different aspect that you can get to when you're able to deal with, focuses and zooming in and zooming out. And I mean, you don't get that live. Live.
And it wasn't just me who was stepping up to the plate with the editing stuff. We have Renee's husband on, who made, oh my God, just thinking about it, I don't know if you can see it, I get goosebumps and everything from what he did with the Banshee. It was just really, really good. And then Casey Jones did a lot of his own work and everything too, and it was, I mean, it added like a layer and like something, because I directed in 2016, I directed Dr. Faustus with Victoria Kelly, and Casey Jones played our Mephistopheles. And he did a monologue for his monologue by himself. He did a monologue from that, where he's talking about his sacrifices to do the job and stuff. And he was he did it fabulously on the stage. But this time in Tales of Darkness, he added some special effects and really, really drilled it in and everything, that this was not something that he necessarily, I mean, it's something that weighs on him. And I think the messaging was a lot stronger because of it.
Yeah.
And then you had
and we
Bragdon.
that scene, that monologue too. Like it was different because we knew it needed to be supported a little bit more to give, because that was the thing with everybody acting. We wanted to give them like a group scene, but also a scene that's going to showcase them. And that was one that we were like, because we knew we wanted to use Mephistopheles, but we were like, we want to beef that up, like just to give it more, you know, because that, in my opinion, like that character has great moments, but it's like the monologues, he needed one that was, and I mean, when he sent in what he did, we were just like, wow.
Yeah.
So,
and then we learned things about our friends, like Leanna Holmquist. None of us knew that she went to school for video editing and stuff like that. And she produced this really, really awesome piece and everything. So I like it. I like what we did and everything. Did we learn some things in the process?
Yes.
Make it a little bit more streamlined and better in the long run? Absolutely. But for a first effort of doing this kind of a setup and everything, it was really, really awesome. I mean, like Laura and Renee, I mean, Laura rarely gets to step out from behind the scenes and stuff like that, because she's so invaluable in the backstage area in directing and producing and stuff, that she finally got an opportunity to step out front, and good Lord, this woman committed. And I mean, my husband was like, I really like what she did. So it was just awesome. And same thing with Renee and stuff like that. She got to play something that's not typically, she's very nice. She's always very nice.
I've never got to be a scary person before, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so we tried to make sure that everybody got to be like a little bit outside of themselves that they normally do. And I think it was a success. I mean, financially, it was a fundraiser for us. And we set a very reasonable goal and everything, and we beat that goal, and then we met the stretch goal that we set for it as well, so which made the board of directors very, very happy. They're like, yes, let's do this again.
Well, because there's hardly any cost in it, really, which is
true. Yeah.
I mean, it's just the cost of like Jackie and I running around giving people costumes.
It's the time of editing and acting and
acting in people's times. But I mean, honestly, it was fun to be able to step kind of outside of our normal box, which is okay. You know, you have to get up on stage, you have to stand in the lights, you have to address the audience, and they're face to face, right? You know, in this forum, it's much more comfortable being in your own house. You know, you're only in this amount of box, you know, and you know, you can play with things in a different way that you don't get to play with them in live theater. You just don't. You know, film is so much different than live theater. You know, you can do special effects, you can do lighting, you can do makeup, you can do sounds, you know, and it's all very much different than what it is in live theater. And that's been fun. I mean, honestly, that's been fun. That's been a lot of fun.
I mean, that is like, to piggyback on that. I mean, because it was the four of us here. And then who did we have? We had this, and I'm talking about the Macbeth Witches scene, is that we had Leanna, Annalise, and Danny. And then the four of us. I mean, Lee and I were directing it, you know, working, but the first time we met was so much fun because we were like, let's try this. Let's have you have your head down and move up like this. And like to see what worked and didn't work. And then Leanna had the crazy idea of like, let's use black light makeup and have black lights. Like, what? And it just is.
Which was a great, cool effect. I mean, I thought it was really, really great. I mean, just looking at everybody in that scene, watching it later, you know, and you're like, oh wow, that really was really a cool idea. So kudos to Leanna for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yay!
It was fun to do too. It was also a lot of fun. So
super creative. Yeah.
Super. So yeah, look forward to that next year or something.
It'll be something that we will do in the summertime.
Yeah.
Between the two shows that we are going to get to do on stage.
Well, and even if we don't get to do Tempest on stage, right? Because Tempest is our spring show.
Yeah.
But even if we don't get to do it on stage, you know, the directors, Lindsay and Jared, they're both people that think outside of the box.
Yeah. Yes.
And I think that they will be able to put together something that is dynamic and something that is engaging. They would do that whether it's on stage or whether it's in video.
Yeah.
So you know, I think that either way we're looking at a good show.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, y'all, what because I know we're kind of wrapping up, but what do we have coming up? We have Day of Giving coming up, right?
Yes, on December 1st, we have TBM is going to be participating in, it's not an official event or anything like that across the country. It's just, it's similar to like Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, or Cyber Monday and everything like that. So now we just followed up with Day of Giving Tuesday or Giving Tuesday.
Yeah.
So the Baronsmen will be participating in this, and we will be sending the link out and everything like that. We just, before we say, please give us money, we do want to say thank you so much to all of our patrons, new and old, who stuck with us through 2020 and the year of crazy and everything. Because honestly, seeing people's reactions to the things that we were trying, and there was trepidation of oh, this isn't going to go over well, nobody, what if they don't like this, what, all this hard work and everything, but getting to see everybody going, oh my God, this is amazing, you guys did a wonderful job. I mean, it kind of fed that part of us that all of us look for when we do things on stage. So
totally,
thank you so much for being a part.
It was really great to engage with. I have to say, you know, listening to seeing the live chat that happened during Tales of Darkness, which I think is a great idea. You know, I mean, we certainly had people that were participating that were not necessarily any of the actors, which is fantastic. You know, because you know we're so used to that audience participation, and we're right there. We have an intimate theater, you know, and we're able to interact with our audience in such an intimate way. And then even afterwards, we're able to go out afterwards and have conversations with people. What did you like? What was your favorite character? Why did you like this? Why did you like that? You know, and that's such a wonderful experience. And we missed that this year. We had missed that terribly, you know, but that gave us a little bit of a chance to experience that, you know, by being able to chat with them. So.
The other thing too is that one great advantage of the virtual show is that, so I had friends from like high school or college that have never seen me act or haven't seen me act forever, and they got a chance to watch and they loved it. Like one of them was an old actor friend. She's like, my God, I haven't seen you act for 10-15 years.
It's the World Wide Web.
Exactly. Yeah. Now everyone can come see our shows. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I had friends from the DC area.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
So you never know. You might see a live stream of our show regardless if we're in COVID or not. Who knows? That might be.
I don't think it's a
We
bad
don't know
thing.
future fools.
I don't think that's a
So,
bad thing.
yeah.
so now Day of Giving. Day of Giving is coming up on 12/1, and we really could not do what we do without the support of our patrons, both the emotional support that you guys give us by actually like applauding us and telling us we did a good job, but also the financial support that you guys give us by purchasing tickets and stuff like that, because a lot of our we have costumes, and anybody who's seen any of our shows knows that our costumes are exquisite and everything, but they take a lot of fabric. A lady's
Fabric and
costume,
leather. Yes.
yes, a lady's costume, for instance, to make the entire thing, it's no less than 8 yards of fabric altogether, probably more in some cases. Men's costumes, it's probably around 5 yards of fabric, and trim and stuff like that. So, and it takes money to do that. Plus we have these fancy boots that everybody loves to see us in, and the swords and stuff, and the lovely props that Laura makes, and set pieces and stuff like that. This all takes money, and this is where your support will come in handy. So go to our website. It'll be located on our donation page, thebaronsman.org/donate. And you can donate anytime between November 30th and December 2nd. Because I know some people have like things, still have family going on and everything. So we wanted to make sure that we gave people enough time to be able to figure out what they give, and anything that you can give would be greatly appreciated.
Also, if you're going to use Amazon, please use Amazon Smile. And you need to make sure that you're actually on the Amazon Smile, and you're selecting, the Baronsman as your charity, because apparently if you just do it just Amazon, then it's not the same. It's not the same pathway.
I know. I always have to say, wait, I've got it. Nope, sign out, get on Amazon Smile.
Yes.
Make sure you're on Amazon Smile and you select the Baronsman. So,
Right.
But that gets us, that honestly, we can't do this without you. And it's a we're always grateful for whatever you guys are able to give towards us. So thank you.
And with that, we're going to say thank you so much for joining us today. I know it was a little wackadoo. We had some little bit of nervous jitters and like happy jitters because we hadn't all been in the same place for a while.
Yeah.
So we thank you for joining us today, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.